Hey folks, how's it going? Hope you're all doing well. I just had to pop in again and just say hello for a bit, just in case you all forgot that I actually exist. Anyway, today, as you can probably tell from the title of this video, I'm going to attempt to use Football Manager to predict the outcome of this year's Premier League season. This is actually something I've wanted to do for I don't know how many years. I just never really get around to it. So, the basic premise is that I simulate a year of the Premier League 50 different times using Football Manager 2018. Maybe even more, depending on the time I've got, but I'm going to say 50 for now. Maybe after the season starts, I might do a few more. We'll see, or maybe when Football Manager 2019 comes out. We'll see. I'll then go into the league table, and you can export it into a HTML file and put that into a spreadsheet quite easily. I'll make the spreadsheet that I now reference into the description. Hopefully, future me remembers. I probably will. I believe in myself. I'm getting older. So I'll stick that into a spreadsheet and use each season to find the average points of each team and then make that correspond to the position that they may end up in. I'm going to add a few more bits and pieces of data that you might be interested in, just for your specific team. So for this experiment, I've downloaded the following database. This database includes quite a few things. The main things is that it includes all the recent promotions and relegations, the current and potential ability updates, and it updates all the transfers and new managers that have been made to date. Now, I'm recording this on July the 20th, and this database was updated on the 15th. Now, I think you can get a paid version and get it updated more regularly, but I'm just going to use the free version for now. So I am so sorry, Liverpool fans, that you're stuck with Karius for now anyway. Obviously, the recently promoted teams are going to be a little weaker, being that technically they should still be championship teams in this game. So I made a few little tweaks to their players, just some of them, not all of them, just to make them a little bit better, to help them so they're not going to get relegated every single season. We'll see how that works out. I don't want to fiddle with it too much, for data integrity and such. I've also set it so that the transfer window is not activated at the beginning of the game, because when I did a sort of test run of this, I realized that some players would always go to certain teams, and that probably won't happen in reality. So for each season, I'm going to go on holiday until Sunday the 20th of May. That's the day after the FA Cup final, just in case I want to try and predict something with that data in the future. I did test run, as I said, of this. A simulation on my machine takes about 11.5 minutes, and then getting the data exported, getting that file, copying it and pasting it into the spreadsheet in total takes about 13 minutes. That's including the simulation, obviously. So doing a rough calculation in my head at this very moment is probably around close to 11 hours, and that's without me flirting around and forgetting to do something. And I've got that to do in about 3 weeks or so. Maths isn't my strong point, but I'm saying 3 weeks, so maybe 3.5, or maybe just under 3 weeks. Hopefully I can do it in this time, because I'm recording this before I've actually done the first legit simulation. So I'll show you guys the first simulation now. So here we are. The very first season has been simulated. It did take about 11.5 minutes. So as you can see, Man City won, but it was pretty damn close. I guess I went down the goal difference. Did it in the end? The exact same wins, draws, and losses. Both 84 points. Liverpool right up their behinds. Bournemouth actually did really well too. They came sixth. Didn't have a good run of games at the end. If they had as good of games at the end, they might have ended up even fifth. I'll pop in again if anything weird happens, like something, like Fulham have an invincible season and win the league, or there's a really close battle for the title. That's not that weird, but just more curious stuff that happens in each simulation. Hopefully there's not too many. I'll try and pinpoint ones which may be of interest. Hello again. I'm aware it's only been like a second for you, but it's been half an hour for me. We're on our third simulation, and I just saw that Everton came 19th and been relegated, which I'd be pretty raging if I was an Everton fan, to be honest. That would be awful. So on to season 6 here, I noticed that Chelsea end up way down in 7th position. They still got a Champions League spot. I assume it's because they won the Champions League. No, actually it was because they won the Europa League final against Villarreal. So there you go. So on to Season 9. I feel I'm popping up here far too often. I haven't even done 10 simulations yet. But Tottenham came 10th. That's weird. I have, out of every Football Manager game I've done, I've never seen Tottenham end up so low. They had awful run of form as well. 49 points, 1 goal difference. Here we are again at Season 11. 2 interesting points, I guess, that 5 teams end up in 49 points between 10th and 14th. And Wolves end up in the Europa League. That's pretty cool. Liverpool fans, you can rejoice. You've finally done it. Season 14. They won it by a point. Edged it by a point. I mean, if it went down to goal difference, it'd been pretty close too. Season 15. I'm popping up again. Here we are. Hello. Crystal Palace came 6th. Not a great goal difference when you look at the teams either side of them, but 64 points, not awful for Crystal Palace. I mean, if you're a Palace fan, you'd be overjoyed at this. Getting Europe next season would be pretty cool. So that's Season 15. Season 23, Liverpool fans, you get your party favours out again. You have won the league, and this time you were joining points. It literally was a goal by the looks of it as well. 78 points each. That's a pretty low tally for winning it, right? And Chelsea and Man City not far behind. Even you could even say Spurs were not far off it either. I feel I just left Season 24 of the following season. Cardiff just came 7th. The first thing I saw with that was Cardiff came 7th, joining points with Everton. That's the best they've been by far. If you were actually look back once you see the spreadsheet, they haven't done that well. But I don't even know how this happened. 54 points, 7th place. No Europe for them. That's disappointing though. Season 30. Hello again. Brighton almost got relegated. Came in 17th place, but got the European Cup. Not too bad. It's not too bad of a season. I mean, a pretty exciting, exhilarating one to just survived relegation. And then to go on and win the FA Cup against Newcastle 2-1, late goal as well. Well done, Brighton. On to Season 37, and Arsenal have slipped way down to 7th. This is the worst I've seen them do. 58 points. I mean, they did a lot of draws. That's probably their downfall, and quite a few losses. Obviously, is not going to help them any. But yeah, Crystal Palace did quite well, as did Bournemouth. Bournemouth 6th place again. On to the following season, Season 38. 4th, 5th, and 6th, all joining points, all 68 points, and I mean, look at that. But again, after the next season, Season 39, very close at the bottom. You know, between 20th and 14th, there were 5 points. That's the closest I've seen so far at the bottom. Huddersfield with an awful record towards the end. But again, it's straight after Season 40. It's just been a constant run of every season. There's been something interesting happening. This one, Huddersfield got relegated awfully last season. Just stuck right at the bottom with awful form. This season they came 7th. Got the European Cup, 57 points. Quite off the mark from Arsenal and Liverpool. And also Man City and Chelsea level on points as well. And Tottenham beating them by a point. And mine ended up at 91. That's the most I've seen actually, I think. Season 42 had a bit of a break there in Season 41. Nothing interesting happened. But 3 teams are tied for 2nd in this one. All with 79 points. This was an interesting one. Just as soon as it popped up, I saw the 379. So, oh, that's pretty interesting. Season 46. I can almost smell the end, and it smells nice. This one was very interesting. A bit like the previous one, but for first position, 3 teams joined for the top position. 81 points each. Chelsea, with their good run of form there at the end, sort of helped them. Season 47. Even closer to the end. It smells even better. Watford were relegated with 41 points. Now, I'm sure it's probably happened in the past, but it's sort of the cliched thing to say is that with 40 points you're safe. Not so much anymore, is it? So, finally done with all the simulations. It's now Tuesday the 7th of August. It took me much longer than I had initially anticipated, but what can you do? It actually took me 51 simulations to do this because, like a dummy that I am, I accidentally overwrit one of my save files, and so now we're here. Now we can move on to the spreadsheet. Hopefully I didn't make this too complicated. I'm going to try my best. But basically, for each season, I had a separate sheet. So you can see here for season 1, there's season 2, season 3, etc., etc., etc. Well, you didn't see season 3 there, didn't decide to pop up. This here bit here, probably fairly self-explanatory. This is just the table that Football Manager spits out, taken from a HTML file and just pasted in. This here bit over here is a little bit more complicated, but hopefully I'll do my best to try and interpret it the best way I can. So the position here, this is the position, and the numbers here mean something. So a 0 means that it got it correct. Football Manager got it correct. Now I'm basing this off last season and swapping in, so you can see here, this is what the actual table looks like. I'm swapping in the relegated teams with the teams who got recently promoted, so you can just sort of, take these here teams for the most part. So the -1 means that Football Manager predicted that the team would do better than they did and end up coming one position lower than that. So I decided to go with minus for that scenario, and plus obviously means the opposite. They did better than Football Manager predicted. Example would be Newcastle. They did much better than that. They have 7 positions better than what Football Manager predicted in this particular season. Same things go for wins, draws, losses, same idea. If there's a positive number, they actually did better than that. So Man City get 6 more wins than Football Manager predicted. They said they got 26. They actually got 32. So it was right, correct, well done. This goes across the board here. This here bit here is, I call nearly a bit redundant, but just I sort of stuck it in there anyway. This here number here is the sum of all these numbers on this here. And sort of how far away did it get, or how close was it? So, and then I ranked them based upon that. So Newcastle technically was the most accurate, got 0. So it sort of balanced itself out. Even though it did awful at getting position correct, it did pretty well at getting everything else fairly close. So got the wins exactly right, was off by 3 either side of draws and loss. A bit off on the goals against, but fairly close elsewhere, and that's why it ended up at 0. So hopefully that makes sense. Again, I wouldn't really look at that. That's just for more data, basically. That's all it really is. This here bit's a bit more interesting. This here is the number of times that Football Manager got the position correct, which is 4 times. So 20% of it correct. That's wrong. That can't be right. Is that right? 4? Yeah, it is 20%, right? I had to really think about that there. And then the wins is how many wins, how many draws, how many losses, how many goals for, goals against, goal difference. They got correct. Didn't get them right. Got that all wrong. Only 1 point, dead on. Burnley was pretty accurate across the board there. Again, it's just, that's probably not really right, because I'm not really counting the zeros too much. But anyway, disregard that for the most part. It was just more there for me just to fiddle about with it. But that was pretty good. I mean, almost got the position correct, got the wins, draws, and losses all correct. Just the sort of goals that they got and goals they conceded was wrong. That wasn't too bad for that season. So 16. That's out of 160 different instances here, got it correct. So 16 out of 160 isn't awful. Got 10%. So the best way of sort of interpreting that is that 10% of this is correct. So yeah, that's the same for each season. Each season's got this here sort of format. So you can look through it. If you're whatever fan you are, you can look and see where you end up each season. Next one, before we go on to the actual table, this one a little bit more interesting. Maybe not. This is sort of calculating the averages of each stat, the highest of each stat, the lowest of each stat, and the total of each stat. So, example would be Arsenal. Their average position over the 50 different seasons was 5th. Contrary to the popular belief of them ending up 4th every season, I don't know if it's an overused joke or not, but they actually come 5th. The colour coding here is the green, basically, that they should be green. I'm not sure why. That's my great conditional formatting in play there. So generally the green means the best team or teams in that stat. So the best average position was Man City and Man United, and the worst was Fulham. As you maybe see, spoilers across the board, Fulham don't do awfully well, and across the board Man United do pretty well. Now I am a Man United fan, and I don't think we're going to do that well. You never know. The almighty football gods, as I stare up above the sky, might shine down on us for once. I don't think we are. I think Man City are too strong. That's just my opinion. Who knows? 48 games in a season, anything can happen. So you can see here, just generally, you can pick out, whatever team you are. Say you're a Huddersfield fan, and you say, well, the worst position they came was last, but the best position they came was 7th. So quite a difference there between the two. Maybe the more interesting thing to look at is the average points, is what I'm actually going to base the final table prediction on. So this is over 50 seasons, what their average points would be. But yeah, you can have a look through this if you're into data like myself. Next one, before we move on to the actual table, this is here one. Now, I am a web developer by trade, and I understand the fundamentals of programming. I've done Excel for years. I'm just confused by why this here appears in the formula here. Now, if you're an Excel wizard, would appreciate your help. Now, this will be available, as I said. You can have a look at this and maybe tell me what I'm doing. I don't know what I'm doing wrong. If I'm doing something wrong, I'll tell you how much. And now this here will tell us that the most common team for each position. Now, not every team is going to appear here. I think there's one team missing because Cardiff are here twice, and I don't think Leicester are there twice as well. You can see the most common team to come first was Manchester United. They came top 30 times. The most common team to come 9th was Leicester. They came there 9 times. 9 times? 9 times. Over here to the right, this sort of defines each position and the amount of times that each team came in that position. So let's grab 6th. So Arsenal came 16 times. So 10th, everyone came 10th 5 times. So hopefully that's fairly straightforward to understand. Here you can see the amount of times that a team has gone into the Champions League, the Europa League, and Europe in general, which is just a sum of those two numbers. The only teams not to ever get into Europe, Cardiff, Fulham, and Southampton. Per Southampton, you think that out of 50 times they eventually would creep into Europe somehow, win an FA Cup or League Cup or something. But no. Newcastle got into it 3 times. No real surprise with the Champions League. I mean, the top 6 teams that you would expect, the teams you expect to come top 6, no one outside of that getting the Champions League. A few of them getting the Europa League. A few surprises in there. You can have a little look. Wolves getting there twice. Huddersfield twice. And relegated. No massive surprises, I guess. I mean, Newcastle and Southampton both got relegated 6 times. And everyone got relegated twice. I only saw it once. That was fairly early on. I might have just missed one. There's going to be some weird things I probably missed out on. I just picked out some of the things I actually saw. Now to move on to the final thing, the main thing, probably what you're here for. You probably skipped ahead to this point. The actual table prediction. This is what Football Manager predicts after 50 seasons. See, Man United come on top, 86 points. Still don't think that's going to happen. And Man City coming behind them, 81. Reasonably close for 3rd place. A few teams in for it. I mean, 7th, well off. West Ham, though. I mean, if you're a West Ham fan, you'd be pretty happy with 7th, I'd reckon. Fulham last by a fair bit. I mean, it would take a bit for them to go out the relegation zone at that rate. Now, we'll see how this actually ends up. At the end of the season, I'm going to come back to this and see, and we're going to use this here and see how many times, or how many positions do we get correct, and how many things do we get correct overall. Again, I'm going to sort of disregard that for the most part. I'm not really happy with it. Now I've actually talked through it, I'm not happy about it. So this one, I mean, this is the average, and this is taken off what actually happened last season. 9.38% of this is correct, and only 3 positions are correct, and I sort of disregard those 2 because I just threw them in there. I mean, who knows where we're going to end up. So yeah, that's it. I hope you enjoyed this video. I did enjoy doing it, even though it took me so many hours. It took me so long to do. There's another video I'm going to bring out. It may even come out shortly after this one, using the same data, but for a different scenario. But I would appreciate, I'm not really one to ask this, but I would appreciate if you were to like this video. I would like to see it get out there a bit and get some eyes on this, because I'm curious what other people are thinking about this. And if you're a fan of a certain team, you think you're going to do better, and Football Manager thinks you're not, you can be angry at them, not me. I didn't do anything, I just simulated the game. Anyway, hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you all sometime. Bye.